one thing that I want to clarify is that the emphasis, the goal of this course, the emphasis is not so much in writing code. Okay? We need to write code because otherwise we cannot experience what cloud computing is. But most of the time, I will provide the code. I hope you just don't only copy and paste. I hope that you kind of understand, because it's, and by the way, if there is any error in the code that I share with you, which could be, because I do it, too quickly, then let me know, okay? So it's not perfect code. It's enough to pass the exercise. Now, so I'm saying this because I understand that not all of you are extremely familiar with Java or with JavaScript. Okay, so don't panic, don't freak out. Okay? I could have used Python, I could have used other languages. I just decided to use these languages because I guess most of us are familiar with it. Also, I'm not emphasizing the code part because this code, as you will see, is very specific. The concept is general, but the code, the actual libraries that we are using are the libraries of AWS. There is no point in learning by heart, though I myself don't know by heart these libraries. I know that some functionality exists, and then I always look for what is the syntax. Okay? What is important about this course is understanding the things that we can do with cloud computing, the current services that they offer, and how you have to learn to put all these services together in order to solve a problem. Okay? So for example, I mean not for example, that this picture this drawing, okay? This diagram, this schema, I think summarize where we are and what we have to do at least today. So if you don't understand this one, please ask me. Okay? So where we are. So as far as I know, we all have an AWS account, right? And we launch an EC2. And then we install Tomcat. And then we wrote some code. We want to develop a web application. And that code we package as a Word, and we deploy in Tomcat. That project contains some Java classes. My code, get this object and get object. And it's a web application, so it contains some HTML and some JavaScript. So we package these things and we deploy it on Tomcat, which is running on an EC2, which has a public IP. This public IP, as we know, it changes every time we stop and start. So it's not, we should have a domain to make it persistent. Yes? Everybody? Then last week, so that's, and of course, these Java classes, because they are accessing some other resources, particular resources in S3, it's another web service, then we need to give some permission, which we do it with IAM, which is another service. Here we put the role, here we put the permission. Yes. So we learn to do all this. Now last week, I started with another. So I said at the beginning of the course that one of the things I want to emphasize in addition to security is this shift in the trend of developing web application, which is going from server to serverless. Going from code that is running on a server, this is a server, right? Tomcat is a server, and this is to act as a server. Now, the key technology to go from here to here is to use Lambda. And then what we did last week is, if I remember correctly, in the case of getListObject Java, we create a Lambda, which we deploy. Then we give it, we create a function URL for that Lambda, which is another service, which basically gives a public IP, and then we change the public IP on the index HTML to, instead of calling the WebSocket, instead of calling this class, calling that Lambda. Make sense? Make sense? Right. Now, we have not solved the problem because still, these guys, still, this thing is here. Right? The index HTML that we access, so we are here. So we have our browser, and we type to go to the website that we want to visit. Now, we type here the public IP of this EC2, because that EC2 is the one that is serving this index HTML. Yes? We are there, everybody? So the goal today is to truly get rid of the EC2. So something like it should be, at the end of the day, okay? So at the end of the day, okay? You see, I'm not accessing anymore my IP, my server. I don't have an EC2, but I can run my web application. Okay? So it should be the case that, okay? Okay. Now, to solve, there are different ways. So the real problem, we have a couple of problems that we need to fix. Last week, we only did this part. Is it working for all of you? Yes? Now, this part is working? Yes? Huh? I know, but, sorry, you're right. But I believe that last week, correct me if I'm wrong, last week we did this for one object, not for all the objects.
For one object,
it's fixed, right? It's fixed, and I told you we had to change that obviously because, like here, in my current example, I can download this or I can download this. You cannot do that because it's fixed. Okay? So we need to fix, so we need to improve this one, right? It is not complicated at all. This is a matter of, it's a question of it is not complicated and it is not interesting, although it's very useful. It is not interesting because the solution, just you need to know the library that the AWS SDK library to handle the HTTP request, okay, which I will give to you. Then once we solve that, we will need to solve, then we have these two problems. There will be a few problems Then we will replace this in here. There are a few problems that we need to solve also, but then the big problem is how we move this in here. Okay. And there are different solutions for that. So you can use, as some of you I think were trying, you can use API Gateway, which is another service of AWS. And you can use something which I think is, at least I started using it just last year, Amplify, which is a new service, which is very good for static, for displaying static, for static content. Now, these two guys actually are just a wrapper for, I believe, I mean, I have not seen the code, but it seems to me that what they are doing is essentially what we are doing today, which is these guys, right? It's a file, isn't it? It's a file, right? Now, what if you put that file on S3? Just put that file on S3, right? Then I could use Lambda get object to download the file, right? End of the story. You just have a Lambda that downloads that file. That's it. You just don't need any more the EC2. Okay. Now how do you do that? Okay. It's a bit. It takes a bit of programming. Okay. But that's the idea. The idea is that wait, index HTML and JavaScript is just a file. So the same way that I can download, and all the files are the same, right? All the files are just a bunch of bytes represented in different ways. So from the point of view of the code of downloading a file, it doesn't matter whether it is an image or an HTML. Well, then what we are going to do is to use Lambda get object once we make it generic. When we make it work for every file. And then create a Lambda function which actually invoke Lambda get object. So it's a Lambda function that invoke another Lambda function. Get the file, pass the file. That's it. What I want to emphasize today and all the days from now on is cloud computing. I said this the first time, web services. So it's a bunch of services which are available on the web. And all of them work basically using the HTTP protocol, which is based on a sort of model of client request response, which is the thing we need to get used to. Keeping in mind that these things are asynchronous. You and I will make many mistakes trying to write, not understanding that the thing is asynchronous. So you have to, quote, quote, wait. Not really wait, but you have to use some technology to, while you keep doing things, is waiting for the response and then do whatever you want with the response. Okay. The power of Lambda is that, as I said, it can invoke, as we saw last time, it's a service that can call other services. So Lambda can call S3, but Lambda can call Lambda. In fact, be very careful because you can, and if you may be tempted, I don't think so, but you may be tempted to call Lambda recursively. Then you're gonna lose automatic. Right? So be careful with recursion and Lambda. The same thing that you have to be careful with recursion and in any programming language. You have to make sure that it terminates. Okay? Any question? So it is important that we go together. So if I go too fast now I'm gonna pass you the code, explain the code, blah blah blah, and then I assume that all of you have your your account, and now take note if you don't remember how certain things are done. But anyway, so let me first explain what the code snippet that I put on Moodle. So first, and you don't need to do this way. Give me a second. So let me just explain. I put this is the HTML. This is the HTML code that I'm using. So you may have used another. Okay? That's my, and in fact, if you look at this code, the first thing I did, okay, is, as you can see in this code, I'm putting together the HTML and the JavaScript in one single file. Okay? So basically, I have this script, and I have this script inside the body, and that's the JavaScript. And that's perfectly fine. I mean, the fact that you have the JavaScript in other files is just not to make the things too big. But because I want to solve the problem by using Lambda get object, downloading the file. Okay, I want the whole, and that file pass it to the browser. I need the whole thing. Okay. There are other ways of doing this, but today that's the simplest one. You put in one file both the Lambda and the HTML and the JavaScript. That's the reason I'm putting this file together. You don't do that for the solution that later on I will propose. It will not work because it will download the HTML, but it will not download the JavaScript in another file. Okay? So put them together. Understood that? Yes? So that's the reason the two are together. And it's perfectly fine, and that's the second. If you look at this code, I have two different solutions. Just in case you want to take a look, there are two different solutions for doing HTTP requests. And in the first solution, I'm using the fetch object in JavaScript, which is which is the latest way, which is the most recent proposal to handle HTTP requests. And we saw an example last week. In the fetch object, basically I will explain a few things now here, but basically you have a fetch, and then you have a then, which is when this thing is done, you got the response, you do something. When that is done, you do this. And the same thing with fetch list object. Now, the other way of doing things, which is the previous way of doing things, is using this object HTTP request. So I have both functions with two possibilities. Okay? Yes. You don't need it, right? You can use the first one. And that is for that. Now, I hope you can download it in case you want to use it. I put it in here. Can you download that file? Is that the Moodle automatically render the file, which is kind of not very nice. Can you download the file? You cannot download the file. Sorry, again. You can inspect the element and copy the code. Okay, do that. But it is.
Có đào được không nhớ? Sao tôi không đào được điều? Cái đào không có. Biết là sao đào cái index đó đâu có đào được.
So I guess you can. I guess what you are saying is that you can do
Anh
this.
đào cái này dài hả? Nó đâu được phải. Hay đào cái file này. Đâu được phải đâu. Đào cái index đó. Nha. Đào cái này dài.
You can also view page source, and I guess, but it's not stupid. I mean, you just need to. Huh? Huh?
Frame source.
I cannot hear you. Sorry. Ah. Okay. Right. Okay, thank you. So I have a code. Okay. Now that code, obviously, I guess if you actually add it to your project right now, it will work. But you are looking at my bucket. These are my URLs. Okay. So if you download the file and put it into your web project, you compile the web project and you deploy the web project in your EC2, it will work, I believe. Understood? Yeah.
Ủa, đào đâu vậy? Cực chụp phải nha, chụp phải mà. Frame source.
Correct. So what I say is that no, you don't have to do it, but just to test. Okay? We are here. Yet we cannot move. Meaning, what I say is if you take this guy, put it here, npm clean install, deploy the new word into your Tomcat in EC2, and use the public IP of your EC2, you will see this. Why? Because you're using now, and it should work. Why? Because you are accessing my lambdas, not your lambdas. You put it in any project. Actually, give me a second. Actually, if you run it right now, give me a second. If you run it on your browser, it will work. You don't even need to put it in EC2. You don't even need to put it in EC2. Okay? No, don't create any project. No, it's just, you don't need to do this part, okay? Okay. Next. Just give me a second, I'm curious about this.
Sorry?
Tell me.
Could you show again how to view the code, because I don't see the...
Yes. So go here.
Yeah.
So click whatever on your, and then view frame source. And then this is the code. So you copy. That's what I was saying. You take that code and copy it anywhere and open it in your browser, it will work. You don't even need to create a project. Okay? Because that code, okay, is an HTML and JavaScript and basically call APIs which are running publicly in Lambda. Now, question for you. What about permission? Why it works? Why AWS serve the object?
Because the script is invoking a Lambda that has your permission attached, so it's reward.
50% correct. The script is not running Lambda. Who is running this? Who is running that? No. Who is running the HTML and who is running? Who is executing? Who is interpreting? Think. Who is it? I'm not saying where is installed or who is giving it. I'm saying who is interpreting the file. The browser. So it's not Lambda, it's the browser. The browser is the one interpreting. Okay? Now, the browser, you look at the code, and thank you for the question, because that's what we want. You look at the code, right? So this is what the browser, our browser, my browser, your browser, if you copy the code in your. So what it does is to basically execute this function. That's a JavaScript function. Now, that JavaScript function essentially fetch whatever resource is in that URL. That's Lambda. Okay? So that is Lambda. So that fetch will go to that Lambda, and now, yes, execute the code in Lambda. Right? That's what a request means. You go and execute there. Now that Lambda, remember, we make it from the point of view of the security. Remember what we say when we create the function URL? We say security none. Which means public. So that's the reason my browser can access that ID, okay, and execute whatever is there. Now, this guy essentially no, this guy execute this code. Okay, this is the code that we had last week. Now, who is executing that code? Who is or where is that code being executed? In my browser? No, in Lambda. So that means inside AWS. Now, the Lambda, so this code is actually accessing a bucket. Right? Now, remember that in our Lambda, sorry. remember that in our Lambda, that lambda, remember that we configure the lambda so that it has this role. In my case, in your case, a different role. Okay? I have no idea why it has that role. Anyway. It should have another one, but it doesn't matter. It just I just put the wrong name. That role, if we go to that role, what? Have another one anyway. That role actually has the permission to access the bucket. Okay? So that's the reason it can access the bucket. Same thing that the function okay? Okay, if you look at the role, it has, we give to that role, okay? We give to that role the permission to access all my list of objects and of that cloud, okay? So to the question of why that code, the HTML JavaScript, can actually access all the resources in the bucket, the answer is, well, that code is accessing APIs that I have made public. The API is public, not the S3, the API is public. So this is public. That API is a Lambda, and we give to the Lambda the permission to access the S3. That's how it works. Okay? Now, I think you asked that question. We, giving a Lambda the none is, now you make public everything that Lambda has permission to, right? And that's obviously not a great idea. So normally when we do the Lambda, not today, we can either, if the Lambda is inside, as we will do next week, if the Lambda is invoked from within AWS, that's okay. If the Lambda is public, then you need to write in the Lambda some if then else, that check. So normally you request, you constrain the thing with some if then else that say, hey, show me your certificates, password. sort of password, login, token related to the Lambda, not to the AWS. Okay. I'm repeating things, but in a different way so that we understand. Any question? So, if you don't make the Lambda, when you create the function URL, you don't make the Lambda none, it's not public, it will not work. If you don't make now for each of the Lambda, if you don't give to the Lambda the proper permission to do the job, it will not work. Question? Any question? Have you tried to put the thing in your browser? Does it work? Of course, you are looking my URL. Sorry, you are looking my bucket, not your bucket. Okay? So now the goal of the class is that you see you do the same thing, but with your bucket, not my bucket. And also, right now it works, right? Right now it works. But you see the difference, right? Here, you are reading, so I cannot access your file HTML. Your file HTML is on your laptop. So at the end of the class, your file HTML should be here in a public IP. Yes? Are we together? No, anybody lost? No. Okay. So can I move on? So the goal is you will have your own index HTML. The index HTML, your own index HTML will be, if you want, like my index HTML, but we need to replace the URLs, right? To access your Lambda, not my Lambda. Okay, so we will go back to this, but now we need to solve this problem. The problem is how to modify our Lambda function so that, our Lambda get object function so that not only download one fixed object, but any object. Right? Because we are going to have a table of objects, and then the idea is that I click, I see the object. Now, in order to understand how we solve this problem, let me just remember that web services, Lambda is a web service, it's all HTTP or HTTPS request response. And the request in HTTP must have, of course, the URL and then the method. And then the method, the HTTP method that is using, which could be get, post, put, delete, that's another. I already said that nobody checked that you're using the right method. So you have to be, if you want other people to love you, then you have to be nice and use the method that corresponds to your intended meaning, or the intended meaning of the API. Now, the important thing is that these three guys and others have a body, which more than a body is called a payload. Meaning, you can pass information. You can pass information. You can pass information. Get doesn't have that. With get, the only thing you can do is to pass information using the query string, has different names. Okay, so basically you have your URL, and then you do this, and then you have a key here, and then you have something here, a value here. Okay, and that information is passed. Now, of course, that has limitations because the size of the URL has a limitation, and because also has a limitation the kind of character that you can write in a URL. So that's not, if you need to pass information, most of the time, you will use a method that allows you to put a payload, and in the payload, you put the information. The payload could be anything, but again, you want people to love you, please use something that everybody understands and know how to handle. Typically, you will use a JSON. You will format your payload as a JSON object. No need, but it's highly recommended. Agree? Okay. Now, that's the reason, okay? You look at look at my code. You want to do something different, do something different. But in my code, if you look at the index HTML, sorry, where is it? Here. You look at the index HTML. When I'm calling this object, the get list of objects doesn't need any payload the way we are doing. Okay? But the problem is here. I need to pass. If I want to make the Lambda to work for any object in the bucket, then I need to pass the key of the object. Right? So that's the reason you look at this code. Okay? Excuse me. You look at this code. The fetch take a second argument. The fetch is not only the URL, it takes also that thing in JavaScript is a JSON object. JSON object that has, yes, it's a JSON object, but what is important is that it has two things. It has, I indicate the method. In the other case, I don't do that because the method is get. So in the other case, I just put the URL. Right? I don't need to pass information with respect to the method or with respect to the payload. Okay? Because it's a get. But in this case, because I want to make a HTTP request using the method put, and then using passing this information. Sorry because I'm using the same name, okay, body and body. But these two attributes, these two keys, method and body, belongs to this object. So if you want to do a request with a specific method and with a specific payload, you have to do this. You put the fetch has not only the URL but also this. That's JavaScript. Now, the body is the payload, and I'm passing my body, and my body is this guy. This is another JSON, which is now the JSON that I'm using for the payload. Okay? It has the key, and the value is the key that you pass me when you call fetch object. Fetch object is called here. So when I create in my JavaScript, basically, not that one. Yes, I create for every row. So you look at the code. I'm going over so get list of objects, give me a whole JSON array. Then I go over the array and I build a table by adding rows and cells. And then I let down cell is a new TD where I put a button which I create, and then I say, hey, when someone clicking that button, you go and execute fetch object with, I know that the response coming from get list of objects is an array of JSON, and I know that every JSON object, I know because I created, every JSON object in that array has a key, which is the one that I'm passing to fetch object. Okay? That's it. Right? So, in other words, In other words, let's see which one. Right. In other words, my get list of objects, what I'm saying is that my get list of objects, okay, return an array of JSON object, right? Because that's the way we define the Lambda. Every object in that array has two key value pairs. The first one is the size, the second one is the key, which, remember, is the key, because we program that way, is the key of the S3 object in the S3, right? So that key is the one that, with this simple code, end up here as an argument to fetch object, and is the one that I'm sending as a payload to the request. I need to JSON stringify, which is basically you cannot pass a JSON as you need to do some funny thing with putting scale characters in different places. You need to use JSON stringify. JavaScript. Okay, the same thing in Java you do. Understood? Yes? Right. Now, the next thing is we need to modify the our Lambda so that now the Lambda reads the payload and act accordingly. Our Lambda was expecting a get, was not expecting a put or a toss. And I'm passing a put, with a payload. So we need to modify the Lambda. Okay? And that's the code that I put here. Sorry. So list of objects, I believe I have not changed anything. Yeah, I put it there just in case you don't have it. And this, yes, we have modified. Okay? And this is the key difference with respect to last week is here. So, and this is basically the first line when it says that, okay, I'm Lambda, I'm receiving a request. I told you before that Lambda, okay, you are here, and Lambda is here. Lambda is behind another service in AWS that we are not going to touch it. So when you go to the URL of the Lambda, you go with a request. That request is wrapped into into an event, which then forward that request to the Lambda. But in that forwarding, basically create another JSON object, which have many things, but one key value pair which we care, which is value. That is, with that you get the original payload. Okay? That's the way it works. Now, with the original payload, I know it's a JSON, and I know that has the key. We saw it, right? Well, that is the key that of the object that I think I need to download from S3, right? Then the rest is the same. You get the bucket. You go the client. You request the list of objects. This is new. This is new because I want to make it a bit better than last time. So basically, what I do first is get all the objects in the backend, and then I basically go over the objects, and then I make sure that the key exists. This if then else is I'm going over all the objects in the list in the bucket, then I check for each one of them whether the key of the object is equal to the key that I'm getting from the request. If it's equal, also I check that the size is less than the max size. In this specific example, the max size is 10 megabytes. And then I modify a variable that says, okay, the size is valid. Then I do this because I don't know what is the MIME type. Okay, the MIME type is important for the browser. Because I don't know it, I basically split the key, and then if it's PNG, the MIME type is going to be image PNG. If it's HTML, the MIME type is going to be this. For other types, that need to be extended. Okay? But this is just new code that I wrote. But the important thing is here. The important thing is that now I'm getting the key, and then if everything goes well, if I found the object and the size is valid, you see, this is what I changed from last week. Now, this guy is not fixed. This guy is the guy that I got. And that's it. I just modify this because now I know the MIME type based on the suffix of the object in the S3, and then I put it there. That's it.
So currently you only accept PNG images?
No, I accept. This is. So the answer is yes and no. I'm not checking whether the suffix is correct or not. I'm just in this code, okay? This can be this can be different. This is last night code, so it can be different. So I'm saying what I request, okay? What I request is that the key corresponds to an object in S3. And then I just get all the objects in the bucket in S3, and I do a loop until I found it. If I found it, I modify that variable. I start with false, change to true. Okay. When I found it, I also so change to true. Then also I check whether the size of the object just is less than 10 megabytes. Okay. Why? Because I'm using this for another thing, and I don't want downloading more than 10 megabytes. And also because I need to create a byte array of a specific size. But these things is not an if else. So this thing is the original value of MIME type, no matter what, is where is it? Yeah, this is the original, this is the default value. So that will work for anything. I mean, will work. Will work means that it will return the thing. Whether your browser understand that or not is a different matter. Okay. So it's not like, so that's the reason I say yes or not. So yes, I only consider those two cases, but no, if you download an object which is not PNG or is not HTML, the browser will do whatever the browser wants to do with that. But the bytes will come to your browser. You want GPAG, just add one more case. Okay? Makes sense? So I have been talking for an hour or more. So why don't you just do it? Why don't you just modify your code? So the task is take the code. You can either create a new project or just put in your project, compile, upload in Lambda. If you are creating a new project or you want to create a new Lambda, then you have to move, you have to add the role, you have to do the function URL. And then basically, if you take the URL in your Lambda and put it in the HTML, in the JavaScript, the first part should work. The first part, not the download. Sorry. No, the download will work. Sorry, the first part will work no matter what, because you already got the get list of objects, and I have not changed that code. It will work when you deploy the project in your EC2, or when you just remember to in the fetch object you have to modify this, okay? Because that's my get object function URL, not yours. Make sense? Go. It's okay, it will work. It will work. That's what I was saying, the object, it doesn't work with the update, but the PNG also, the image PNG also open the, sorry. This guy, so the default for image type is this one, right? That works for anything, if your browser accepts it. The what? Yes. If you don't show me the problem, it's impossible for me to know. I mean, when you ask me a question, you have to be precise. To say it doesn't work, it doesn't help. There are so many things that can go wrong. You work, don't watch anymore. Okay? Next time you are out. So in the class, if I see any of you watching tennis games or out, you have to respect my work. Work. So what you have to do now, as I said, so I put here, right, in the week 8, in the code snippet, do this first. So I assume you have already the Lambda for the Lambda get list of objects. If you don't, then you have to create it. Then when you have done it, then this is the new one. Okay, so you have to take this code, create a project. If you don't have it, if you have the project already, you just copy the code and replace the code by this. If you have it, if you don't have it, create a project, create a class, add the code, compile, create the Lambda function, upload the code, remember to modify the handle request, assign the role, and get the function URL, and that's it. And then once you have done it, I will tell you how to test. So once you have done it, ask me, and I will tell you how to test. That, because now testing that function is different from testing the function before. Because now that function needs a put. Okay? So I need to tell you how to test that. Yeah.
So I have uploaded the file.
You have downloaded, right? Yeah. And then it says failed, right?
Yeah.
Very good. And it says failed because, right. Show us. So this is, I believe this is the problem that you're gonna get. Can you share with us? Can you share? Nothing. Oh my gosh. Okay, so now uploaded, and then he tried to test as before. Of course it doesn't work. Why? Because it says cannot invoke a string length because parameter is not. What the heck is that? Well, remember the code. This is the code of the Lambda, right? Okay. So in the code of the Lambda, code of the Lambda, we do this, right? Right? But you are not passing any payload. So that is gonna fail. And it's gonna be a runtime error. That's what you are getting. Understood? So if your Lambda requests a payload, requests some information, because that's, you are getting that information here, it will fail. So how do you test? Right? So do this. Here, delete Lambda. Right. So test. Okay, so you have to. So you have to you create a new test. Let me do it this way. So I'm gonna create a new test. Okay. So I'm gonna say create an event. Yes. Then you call it whatever test object. Okay. Then it's gonna be private, and then you put here this. What I'm doing here is I'm creating manually a JSON. This is the JSON that your JavaScript will create, which basically is a JSON that you say the key is body. Why body? Because that's what this guy understands. And then you pass the real JSON that you want. Key with the name of the object that you want to download for testing. In my case, worldwide PNG, whatever you have, whatever name you have in your bucket. And then you have to put all this stupid slash to escape the thing. I'm gonna copy and put it also in the. I'm gonna copy and put it in the. In this. Again, you have to put the name of your object, not. Okay, try. Yes? Huh? Huh? What? Yeah. 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 Is it working? Got it. Okay? Okay? Yes? So now, if you take that URL and put it in the HTML and put it in the JavaScript, so if you take, right, that Lambda has a URL, right? Yeah. Right. So if you go to the, you go here and you put it here, right? Then your project should work. If the get list of objects do the right thing. Yes?
If the object size is July, so I have to reduce the size.
Yeah. It's an example. Put a small object. Don't put in your S3 1 gigabyte of thing. Just put a small one. Otherwise, it will not work. Or modify the size on the Lambda. But I'm not gonna do it. You do it.
Cái này là tạo file mới mà. Đó là sao? Cái code của hai là tạo file mới luôn. Cái index đó là cái nào? Cái mà hay kêu copy đó. Cái này
Okay, that's it.
chắc là tạo file mới. Cái nào? Cái đó là cái nào vậy? Được phải cái index
You
đâu?
copy and paste code from internet, it's okay, but you fix it.
Copy index nào? Ý là bạn đang hỏi copy index là cái get object á. Hay là giờ đang
It is up to you. This is not about programming.
Cái mà
You can use anything you copy from internet. Now, be careful not to use things that you don't understand.
Xong rồi phê cái code của tuần trước của bà thôi.
And the recommendation always is this. Always, in software engineering, keep it simple. Simple doesn't mean small. Simple means you don't use components, you don't use libraries that you don't need. Nobody's going to pay you for doing that. And that thing is turning that into a JSON, in case you don't understand. So what is the point of using a library? To create a JSON. Create a JSON. Finish? Working? I want to hear. Working? Yes? Working? Yes?
So, because I don't want so your get object to use a JSON.
What? You don't want what? Yes.
So I use set
Correct.
as a set framework when I
Wait. No, where is the? Show me the test. Right. That's it.
yeah, but when I go to the function URL,
Yes.
just say
Because you have a problem. No. Okay, show us this. Show us your problem. It is important to understand what we are doing, and it can be confusing. I understand. Show us your problem.
Mấy cái code mấy cái code này rồi bỏ ra
Test object.
cái object
Thay thế.
Okay, so first go to the test. Please listen this because you will make the mistake. Okay? So test it again, just to double check that everything's okay. Test it again. So she is testing the Lambda function, go down, scroll down, with this payload, right? And it works. So if this is your own, the object that you have in the bucket, go up, scroll up, and then that is a response, which basically this is, as I said, all these things created by the, so this is created by the class that we are using to return the response. But this is the important thing, this is the body, this is the thing that you are putting there. These are all this is the base 64 encoding of the bytes that that contains the bytes that correspond to the object. Fine. Now what he was asking me, you go to configuration, and he was asking me, hey, I click here, internal server error. Why? Because you are not passing any key. Remember, when you click here and you open in the browser loon is a get, and you are not passing any payload. So then the Lambda crashed. Yes. You cannot call. I mean, you can. If the Lambda is going to look for the payload and it's going to make it's going to be a runtime error because there's no payload. That's the reason when you are doing web programming, normally you use to test your APIs, you use Postman or you use other things where you can actually test the put, the post, the delete, and so on and so forth. Yes? But the point is that you put that URL in your index HTML JavaScript and it will work because actually it called that with the put and with the payload. Who else is working? So you got the thing, right? You got the object, right? When you deploy your full application, is it working? Not yet? Okay. You are completely lost. What happened? But doesn't matter. You just copy it's create the Lambda. I mean, it's the same. It is the same. You are doing more than I am doing. Whatever, you will see. You're gonna use it. So show me that it's working. So don't. This is very stupid discussion. No, the project working. Okay, babe. Anybody with the project working already? Right. Open the. Yeah. You are not doing what I said. You are not doing what I said. So, if you work in a company And if your senior tells you, do this, the point is not to show that what you are asked works. Because it gives you some respect. You will not be able to do the whole exercise today. I mean, please, don't copy and paste code. Okay? And if we are testing how to use put, because we need it later. We need it later. I know, look at this code. Look at this code. Look at this code. I'm using query parameters. Okay? Look at this code. What is this? Getting the query parameter. But I commented out. Because for the whole exercise today, we need the put. So I comment, there are two ways of solving the first problem, not the second. You can use query parameters. Yes, there is a way of doing that. But then, and I did it, it's there. You uncomment this, you uncomment the JavaScript, and it works without the put, with the get. However, for the second problem, it is rather messy to do it. So that's the reason it's better, and actually what we don't use query parameters normally. Okay, it's just not the way to do it. It's the way to do it in the 90s. Finish? Working? Yes? Yes. Right. You don't uncomment. If I commented, no. You cannot, no. You have to uncomment all the places that I commented to get the second version. But don't do it, please. Okay? Don't do it, please. If you are interested, I will tell you later how to do it. Yeah. Finish? What is the problem? We don't know. Okay. Right. No, okay. Very good. Show us that problem. Show us that problem. So I don't know why it works for. It shouldn't work for anybody. Show us that problem. It's working for you because you are not using course, because you are not using put. Okay. Now you understand. Yes, but you cannot do that.
Yeah, because I just
I understand. Okay, so this is the problem that I wanted. So he did everything okay. I guess it's working, and then the packet is okay. He said access to fetch blah blah blah. I think that is the which is this function? What is the tree, bang, blah blah? What is that function in you? It's the get list of object, right? Of object, right? And it say, right? And it say, from origin null has been blocked by course policy, no access control, allow origin header is present. What the heck is that? It's a course error. And what is a course error? I think I told you the first week or second week that we will face that problem. And if you program web application, or any application with APIs, you will get this problem. What is it? So essentially, what it means is that you are here. You are the browser. And you put your URL here, right? and that URL lead you to some page. That's gonna be HTML plus JavaScript, right? That's, okay, it doesn't matter, you're right. So you are doing it in your browser. So you are putting it in your browser, right? Okay, fine. But then this guy contains a request to another URL, which is the Lambda. Yes? Yes? Now, the browser knows where you were and knows where this guy is leading you. If they are different, if they are in a different domain where there are certain rules, and this guy does not respond, actually it responds, if you look at the, go to network, open this, open the response. No, the other one, this one. It actually responds with the thing, but the browser denied to show. So the course is browser, it's not your code. So the browser, if the browser is applying the course policy, it will not display what it's getting, because it comes from a different domain that you think. Unless this guy say, hey, I'm happy to serve anything to anybody. Now, why he didn't get the problem? Because he was using get. Get is always allowed under course, always. Okay? Get is considered safe. But because we are using put is not considered safe in general. So what we are doing, which is getting the HTML and going somewhere else, because this Lambda is different from this guy, it's not allowed, unless we do the following. You go to the Lambda, and everybody has to do this. You go to the Lambda, sorry, I have to make. You go to the Lambda, let's start with get list of objects. Let's start with this one. Then, in function URL, then in edit, you click edit. Right now you have course none, I think, right? You have course none, right? You. Function URL. Here you don't have this. I have this, you don't have it, right? Correct. So then go to edit. And edit, remember, authorization, everybody. And now you have to click in configure. Click in configure cross or you are configuring course. Okay? And then you need to leave like that. There are many things you can do, but leave it like that. But here, allow methods. You need to allow get. It's but why? What is that? Yeah. Okay, and save. Try now. Yes. Yeah. Open. No.
Bên configuration.
All you have to change is allow method.
Function URL edit. Addition setting. Cái cuối cùng đó. Cuối cùng kéo xuống. Cái này nè, allow method. Cái này xong rồi.
Got it? Got it? Wait. So it's working, right? So everybody's working? Yes? Everybody? Now, okay. Now it will not work. Now you have to do the same thing. You download the object? You shouldn't be able to. Right. So you have to also modify the course of the function to download. And now you have to allow put, because that function is put. Okay, so everybody's, maybe we can take a break and I can help the people, whoever needs help. And then we everyone
build được mà
take
đúng
a
không?
break, 15 minutes.
Không build được luôn.
Yes.
Build được. I using it
Very good.
when I click download it.
Yeah, what does it say?
Nó là cái cục.
Clean install chứ.
Ồ,
Sẽ clean.
you see.
Yes, because have you modified you have to modify the course. You have to modify the course of two functions, right?
Yeah.
Have you modified the second one? No. Modify, otherwise give us an error.
Nó làm được.
So it's get object list and get object, but the get object is the put, the method that you need to allow.
Yeah.